Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Well, if you're watching right now, you're watching the live version of the podcast. If you're listening later, welcome to the podcast. Um, and today we have Edwina Wilson, the founder, CEO of Kelly's Choice. And hello, how are you today?
I'm great, and yourself?
Good. Tell us a little bit about what Kelly's Choice does.
Well, Kelly's Choice is a nonprofit organization where we advocate in the community for special needs, disabled community, and caregivers. From workshops to conferences, um, galas. We even visit homes. We have been places people don't even know about. So we have been to the hospitals, nursing homes. We pop up on people's jobs with surprises. So it's a lot of things we actually do in the community.
Tell me about a time where you popped up on somebody's job. That's the first I've heard of that.
Oh my gosh. I did a YouTube, or I put it on YouTube. Well, actually, it was a young lady. It was a lady that came to our second annual Caregivers Gala. And her name was not submitted, but the family member and her friends mentioned to me that she was a caregiver as well. So, of course, I don't like leaving nobody out. So I got information on her, and my whole thought was to just surprise her to give her what everybody else received at the Caregivers Gala. So I got in contact with one of her friends, and we set up a date that she would be at work, a time and everything. So I had an open window of what time I could get up there. So we drove out. I went up, picked up a few items to give along with the certificate and the trophy, and some balloons and stuff like that. I went and picked up. Went down to Newport News to her job. She was behind the window, and everybody else saw me coming. She didn't see me coming, so I got up to the window and I announced her name, and she looked up. She said, "Oh my gosh, I was going to call you."
that's
It was
great.
the most wonderful thing ever. So she ended up coming out and came out there, stood in the lobby with us. And I basically just let her know that, I appreciate her coming to the gala. And, I'm glad she had a great time. But I wanted her to receive what everyone else wanted to receive, what everyone else received. So I took the time out to come here and surprise you. She said, "You did surprise me."
That's funny. That's great.
Yeah, so
Um,
it was so wonderful. She said a few things that we did, and that was it. But I still stay in contact with her. So
so tell us a little bit about your daughter Kelly, and then we'll get into all that.
Well, Kelly is 32. She has cerebral palsy, and I always say, and other disabilities and different abilities. And I always say when she's lacking in one area, she's gained in another. So Kelly does not walk alone. She has no stability whatsoever. So she does use a wheelchair. She can walk with assistance. So she does use a gait trainer. We want her and continue to let her use all mobility she has. So she does get upstairs by herself, and we walk her to the bathroom. Um, what else does Kelly does? Kelly does have seizures, not many like she used to, thank God, but Kelly does have a history of seizures. Uh, what else about Kelly? She loved to talk. She loved people. She's full of surprises. We never know what's going to come from her, what's going to come out her mouth. But yeah, so this has been a long 32-year journey with Kelly. But it's rewarding and it's challenging.
So when you first found out that she had CP, like how did you feel?
I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to think. Um, all I knew was that I was blessed with this beautiful young baby, little baby, and God gave her life because Kelly was actually, um, it may be a better word for it, but she was like, as Robert, my friend Robert would say, she was blue like the blue Smurfs. That's what Robert always say. So she was lack of oxygen when she was born. Basically, Kelly was born not breathing whatsoever. They actually wanted to call her off, write her off, really. But I have a one of my sister-in-laws. She was with us because they kept sending me away from the hospital when she was first born. And well, when I was in labor, they kept, they sent me away like 3 times. And the third time, I went to my sister-in-law house, and from there, I was in such excruciating pain. She wanted to know what was wrong, and I told her. We went to another hospital. Day from there back to where I was originally. And lo and behold, as soon as I get there, bam, here's Kelly. But the doctors held her like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with Kelly? But they didn't know her name at the time. And so my sister-in-law was like, what are you holding her for? Do something. So the behind the scenes part, every time, her auntie tell me this, it's very emotional because I could have been one of them parents that the doctors came to me and said, I'm sorry, ma'am, your daughter didn't make it, because they tried to call her off 3 times. And the first 3 times, well, not just 3 times, the first 3 times, my sister-in-law was, no, she's going to breathe. She's going to breathe. Y'all keep on. So then, they kept on, they kept on. So the fifth try, that's when Kelly started breathing. And she said it was probably about 20 minutes when Kelly had life. And because of that, Devin, when they told me 3 months later, because I did not know what was wrong with Kelly. At 3 months, she just wasn't doing things a normal baby would do. She was just quiet. No movement, no nothing. And I took her to a children's hospital in DC. And that's when they told me she had a stroke on her right side at birth, which will affect her for the rest of her life. They said she didn't have a soft spot, which will affect her for the rest of her life, but they could do surgery, but they can't guarantee the surgery will work. And I opted out of the surgery, and which will open up her soft spot. They said that she had seizures at birth. It was a lot of things that happened at birth that the hospital actually did not tell me. I didn't know any of these things they were telling me 3 months later. And they said, ma'am, I'm sorry, it's a possibility your daughter will, and she is going to have some type of disability. And I'm looking at the doctors like, that's it? That's all you could tell me? So as a parent, being told that your daughter or your son or just your baby is going to have a disability, there's no training. We don't have classes for that. So we're just thrown to the wolves. So I just learned to love her, groom her, and mold her. And here she is 32 years later, just a beautiful young lady. So to say all of that, when they said she would have a disability, I just said, okay, I'm going to raise her. And that's what I've been doing.
Yes, there is definitely no instruction manual for this.
No instruction manual whatsoever. We make our own along the way because we learn from them, and different things that they do as they grow up and go into different levels, we learn from that as well. So it's truly a learning experience, that's for sure.
It is. So what is your support system like, and how did you and your husband meet?
Huh?
What is your support system like, and how did you and your husband meet?
Okay, I didn't hear the first part, but I heard how did me and my husband meet.
What is your support system like?
Okay. Well, in the beginning, it wasn't so well. Well, in the beginning, when Kelly was an infant, everybody wanted to keep Kelly. She was an infant then. So it wasn't a lot of work to do, is what they would say. It's not a lot they have to do. She's a baby, you know? So in the beginning, some family members, would pitch in here and there. But it was more so on my ex-husband's side of the family versus my side of the family. Other than my grandmother on my mother's side, she loved herself some Kelly. She was there for Kelly 100%. So support is very important, though. It's extremely important to have support in your life when you're dealing with anything really, but when you have an individual that has a disability, it's important because you want to have those moments where you can go breathe, take a moment and come recharge and come back and ready for the next journey. However, I met Corey, well, my ex-husband, I met him in junior high school. So we had a long journey. We went from junior high school to, that was in the 70s, to 1994, and we walked with our own ways. But God sent me this angel. His name is Corey Wilson, and we met in 96. I'm sorry, in 94, me and my ex-husband went our own ways. I met Corey in 96. And oh my gosh, it was great. It was great. We were passing by through our jobs. We would just always pass by each other. And sometimes we would speak, and that's really how it started. Then one day I decided to go in on a Saturday because I didn't work that Friday, and he was there. And I made a long conversation. And from that point on, to 96, we've been together since, nonstop.
Jack said an instruction manual would make sense, and that's not allowed. So
Right. So yeah. So and he has taken Kelly under his wings. He is literally, you know, I feel like this when Corey was brought into our lives, that I feel like God knew what type of person that I really needed in my life because Kelly matters, and anybody that come in my life have to make a difference in my children's life. So, yep. So he's been doing that ever since 96.
that's sweet. And I will attest that Corey, the backup singer, is the greatest backup singer. So
Yeah.
So what is the biggest result, like in the community or just in the disability community in general, that you would like to see as the result of your foundation and the work
As a
that you do?
as a result of it.
Yes. Yes. Hello?
Want to say that again?
What is the biggest result that you would like to see as a result of your work through Kelly's Choice?
Well, I have a few goals, and I'm not going to stop until they be reached. So I have this caregiver's wish. It's a whale. The picture of it is a whale. It's a caregiver's wish whale, and it's to have funds into the whale for caregivers that may want a moment to get away, like maybe a day or two to just have time for themselves, or like one lady I ran into, her scooter was getting old and slow, and she's not only just a caregiver, but she has cerebral palsy herself, so she has a disability, plus she has a son that has autism. So her scooter was, going bad, and I was like, God, I wish I could just help her, you know. So coming across a lot of people that have come to me about different things is what made me decide I want to do a caregiver's well. And so I would love to see that well grow so we can send caregivers to different places, or we can put towards a lift van for their individuals. So for them too, because it will help them and take weight off of them by them having that lift van. Um, I would like to see it. I would like to be able to do things more in the community for the individuals, like we have in the first annual back to school drive for the special needs community. So I would like to see more of that.
And
So it's a lot of things I would like to see.
Tell us a little bit about the back to school drive, because when I heard about the back to school drive, I was like, okay, we're going to inclusion now. We're taking a break from Survivor for a little while. And when I heard about the back to school drive, I was like, oh my gosh, she has to be on here before that ends. So please tell us what the back to school drive is.
Okay, so the back to school drive is I call it the back to school backpack field drive, and it's for the special needs community. And my goal for that is to have medical supplies as well when it comes down to gloves and wipes, disposable wipes, or sometimes they call disposable washcloth for wipes, sanitizer, the bed liners, things that I think that individuals would use in school. That's outside of school supplies as well. So we want those things in their backpacks along with school supplies, the notebooks and the tablets and the pencil pens and all of that. And what's unique about it is it's dedicated to that community. So it's a little different because of the things that we're adding in it, like the wipes and the gloves and the sanitizer and all those different things. So it's really dedicated to that community. And we're going to do it year after year that we can.
So, and now that while we're on the subject of surprise and all that, what is the craziest reason that insurance is giving you for denying like a chair, a stand, or anything? This is the comedy part of the podcast, by the way.
Well,
because this is going to be comedic.
I don't think they really know. I think insurance companies try to find reasons to deny things. Like with the chair, for instance, that new one Kelly just got 2 weeks ago. They was telling us, well, you might get a call from an insurance company because they might say, why do you think this is going to benefit Kelly? Or Kelly's 32 years old. She might not need the lift. Kelly is 32. She might not need the stand. She's 32 years old. Why does she need this now? And, so they were like, we've had calls like that where they deny because they feel like they don't need it. But my thing is, put it through anyway, because who are them to say what's not beneficial for them?
Like, I got this chair doesn't, but my last chair had a stander on it, and at first it got denied by the regular insurance company, and it had to go through a secondary insurance because, quote, standing was experimental. I kid you not. The act of standing was experimental in their eyes. And it's just like, okay, whatever. Hello? Yeah. Yeah,
but you want it though, right?
Yeah. The act of standing is apparently experimental. So, that's where we're at with these insurance companies.
Yeah. I think any parent, or if it's the individual that's requesting any type of equipment, adaptive equipment, they know why they're requesting these equipments, They know why, and they know how it's going to benefit them. But then you got to deal with the insurance company, which I'm be honest with you, Devin, I didn't even worry about it. Literally, I'm so past the insurance company thing that I just always feel if we decide that this is something for Kelly, just put it through. Just put it through.
Yes.
And she got everything, it went through. Actually, it went through in 2 months. It went through in 2 months, and they told us we wouldn't hear anything until September.
So Jack says insurance companies are fantastic, no problem at all. And then he says we just need to stand up to the insurance companies.
That's what I just said.
Yes.
That's what I just said. Just what do you do? If they try to deny you because they feel like you don't want it, then you tell them why you do, or why you think it, why is it beneficial, or why you're requesting it. For everybody's reasoning is different. Everybody's need is different. So it's just a matter of, and then if you got the doctor that write it out perfectly, sometimes you may not have anything to worry about. Yeah.
Yes. And Dr. Lesher, for any of you listening to this, looking for I guess she's physical medicine and rehab. She will write anything you have ever wanted unless it involves surgery. If it involves surgery, you're going to have to convince her. But Everything other than that, she will write it out perfectly and get it to you within 48 hours. I've never seen anything like it.
So you attend doctor, she's your doctor as well?
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, Kelly been seeing
So,
her since she was young.
do you guys go to Dr. Lesher or no?
Yeah, yeah. She's been seeing
Uh,
Dr. Lesher since she was a young girl, little girl.
yes. I was, she apparently saw me as like a baby when she was a resident, and then she went to another hospital, and then I saw the other doctor at, CHKD for a while, and then she came back. So now I'm seeing her again, and she's just amazing. So,
Yeah.
um, and so what has been the toughest part of Kelly living with CP?
Well, I mean, the toughest part is, with her not having any stability. Um, and I only say that because anything we do or I have done, I had to learn how to bear the weight and bear the weight with me and her almost being the same size height anyway. So it's ways you have to learn how to do those things. Um, it's really not a lot of challenge because I always say it's rewarding and it's challenging, but for the most part, it's always bearing the weight. One, if I have to, and two, always making sure anywhere we go is accessible. It's accessible. That's the biggest
And
challenge.
there might be an ADA, but it is seldom enforced and seldom followed. So,
Yes, yes.
uh, how do people treat Kelly, and how do you want them to treat her?
I don't think Kelly. I have never seen Kelly have major problems. Um, I've never really seen her have major problems. If they were, I guess it was a good thing I didn't know. But when people meet Kelly, um, Kelly's so friendly. She's very friendly. She loves to talk to people. She want to get hugs. Um, she smile at everybody. And once she get to know you, she talk the whole time, nonstop, nonstop. So I don't think Kelly really had problems with people at all.
So yeah, I heard on the radio show about DJ with the Food Lion incident,
Yes.
and that stuff goes on all the time. So I just wondered if you have any.
I've never had an experience like that at all. I would never send Kelly out. Um, I mean, I'm I'm not going to say they didn't ask me, and they did, and I refuse. Um, because to me, I feel like I would be throwing Kelly to the wolves because she not intellectually like that. She's really not at a 32-year-old level. So I don't think she's ready for that type of environment. And if she was, she would have to have a personal aide beside her the whole given time, the whole time. And I don't know how that would work. She might be
Yes,
telling them what to do.
and if you could implement. Jack asked this question. If you could implement a single law everywhere to make people with disabilities lives easier, what would you implement and why?
Well, one, we got to have transportation so much better than what it is.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, transportation here is the worst. It's the worst. When we moved out Suffolk, we used to live right there off of Bridge Road in Harper Breeze Estates. And I moved from Virginia Beach out there. And when I moved there, Kelly no longer had transportation. For a whole year, they would literally tell me no one was available to pick Kelly up.
For
So,
school?
yeah,
For
Not for
public
school.
school?
Not for school. Not for school. Transportation to day support.
Oh.
Transportation to day
Okay.
support. When we were in school, we were out Virginia Beach. She went to Princess Anne. But transportation is so important. Very important. I would love to implement a way where there would be no such reason why anybody, I don't care what location you in, if it's a back road, a back street, or whatever, everyone should be available to be able to pick someone up. They need to bring more people in. They need to have more city buses, more city buses to be able to go on those back streets and back roads. And like here in Suffolk, you don't have a lot of that. If you're on the south side, like where we live, they don't really come down this way. But so that's what they need to change. They need to change that for the disability community so they too, along with everyone else, can get out in the community and be included in everything else just like everybody else.
Yes,
And more accessibility.
Yes, and tell us about the bathrooms while we're on that subject. Bathrooms.
What they say is accessible bathrooms?
Yes. What they say versus what they need to be.
Right. What they say is accessible bathroom, to me personally, is not really accessible bathrooms. They may have the wide doors, but if you go in a regular bathroom and they have that handicap symbol up there,
Yes.
some of them stalls are so small. And a lot of individuals, even down to parents, because you got the elderly that needs care as well. A lot of them stalls are not made for two people.
No. A lot
know,
of them aren't made for a chair. You can't even turn around in there.
exactly. So I think they need to change the law big time. Even when it comes down to the construction companies, I think this need to go bigger than what people is trying to get it to be, because I feel like every new building coming up, if it's a hospital, a doctor's office, if it's a mall, a shopping facility, they need to have a family adaptive bathroom, meaning adaptive where they can have the electric adult size changing table. Because it's not just for the disabled community. Once again, you have a lot of elderly people that cannot use the bathroom on their own as well. So then we say adult size because you got younger children that can't fit on those baby changing tables. I've seen pictures of people having their child or their individual on the floor. Nobody should have to be on the floor. Nobody. And I think it's ridiculous. So I think it should be a law. I think it should be a law for the generation come up. If it could get passed now to have these family adapted bathrooms, accessible bathrooms with the changing tables. And I say put a lift in them too, because some of them you can't get out the chair without a lift.
Yes.
So once you leave home and you use the lift to put them in the chair, most of the time when you're out, a lot of people have to turn around and go back home just to be able to take care of those individuals' needs.
Yes, and we were on a road trip one time. I'll never forget this. And we stopped at a McDonald's, and the handicap accessible bathroom wasn't wide enough for me to get my chair in it. So my dad had to lift me. I'm like, this is a handicap accessible bathroom. Like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. They're not accessible. They're not accessible like they say they're supposed to be. That's my view on that.
So, last question: what is your disabled advocacy media diet? Like, what do you watch as far as advocacy stuff goes?
Advocacy stuff. Is that what you say?
Yes.
Huh. Well, a lot of things that I do that I don't ever talk about. I have had people call me, Edwina, can you go with me to an IEP, or Edwina, can you go with me to the CIS, or Miss Edwina, can you go with me to um, my individuals, what you call it, Kelly just had hers, annual, annual.
Yes.
Um, I do a lot of those things. Because like I said, it's been 32 years, so I done had the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
I done had all of it. So, my whole thing with parents is when it comes to anything like that, and I always tell them when you know what your child or individual needs, and when it comes to assistance, whether they're in school or day support, or just having their annual with the case manager, you know what your goals what goals would be better for them. And that's when we have to speak up and not let them dictate what they think is best. Sometimes we got to go a little bit higher to just shoot for something higher so they can even get to that level, because a lot of times the teachers like to keep them at a lower level. But no, when we see what they don't see, we got to let them know so we can tell them, no, we want our child to do this. We just really have to speak up. But I do those things when it comes to advocating for in the community. I do and have been to a lot of meetings. Very
So,
interesting. Very interesting.
so leave something for our listeners, like how they can contact you and everything.
Okay, so I am Edwina Wilson. That's Edwina Wilson. I can be reached on all social media at Kelly's Choice. That's KELLYS Choice Inc. That's IG, that's Twitter, and Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I believe that's just my first name, but it does have Kelly's Choice Inc. on that. And if you want to reach me, I can be reached at 757-945-3905, or my email, Kelly's Choice Inc. at gmail.com. And my website is www.kellyschoiceinc.org.
All right. I think that'll do it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye,
Take care.
everybody.
Bye bye.